glorious presence. Just a reminder before we get started, all please switch on your camera until the session is getting over so that we could easily capture you on live photographs. To keep the quality or sound functional during the session, please mute yourself. To start, by the name of God, who is merciful and benevolent, ever has existed and ever will for us to glory in anything else would be in. As there is nothing greater than God, there is no common God. I would like to invite Phoebe Suresh of English Literature for the prayer song.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a light spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, those who highly exalted, glorious in heaven is above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all of our sake became poor. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. Leaders are made, they are not born. They are made by hard effort, which is the price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. I invite our dearmost HOD, Dr. R. Malati, our constant source of motivation and who encourages every mind, to welcome this gathering. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Binny, and thanks, Phoebe. Amidst your busy schedule, you people are in the busy schedule till today. You are in the busy schedule, but then amidst that, you people are helping us. Thank you so much, and it's my foremost duty to thank God Almighty for blessing us all with good health, even amongst this pandemic. So I submit my sincere thanks to God Almighty, and I extend a very cordial welcome to our beloved principal. Sorry. I extend a very cordial welcome to our beloved principal, a person who's behind the success of each and every step, as we always say, and we have always felt that it is because of his motivation and encouragement that we have raised to this level and we are moving forward to the level of success. And I am deeply thankful, and I extend a cordial welcome on behalf of the Department of English and all the participants over the board to our beloved principal, Dr. B. Anirudhan. Welcome you, sir. And I do extend a cordial welcome to the resource person of the day, Mrs. Priyanka Banerjee, madam, a freelance writer, a poetess, an academician, and I've read a couple of poems of her, and so many poems are in Hindi also, so that I was not able to read. But it's so, one line which I remember from her poem is, success should come onto your feet. it read like that. So thank you so much, ma'am, for readily accepting our invitation and being with us today. Hope we could. I mean,
First of all, I would like to say, ma'am, that I am not a great academician. I am just a student. I am very much like your student. I am doing my PhD. But yes, I am writing poetry, and by God's mercy, that you all have said, suddenly my poems, are very much loved by people who are appreciating them. The Americans love me very much because of my poetry. And also they got published in Nigerian blogs, in Egyptian blogs. So suddenly I don't know how it happened, but it clicked. And as you remember one line of my poem, but I would like to point it out. Because I used one sentence in the poem, and I am always writing in favor of women. So some people are criticizing me very much for that, because the cover photo of his book profile, if you see there, it is written, "Power, thy name is woman." So many people have criticized me, and men have said that power, thy name is man. Okay. I don't know whether power, thy name is man. Yes, obviously. Power, thy name is man, but I always must say that power, thy name is woman. Okay, so it's like that. So one of my poems that became, like very, it became a hit, because I used sentence in that poem that is, "Beauty, thy name is woman." So I deconstructed, that wonderful line of Shakespeare, "Frailty, thy name is woman," began my poem with the line that, "Beauty, thy name is woman." So it happens, I don't know why, I don't find any fault in any woman. Okay, and I don't find fault in man also. But that's a specialty of my poems. Perhaps some people will not like it for that reason, because I don't find out any fault in any woman. And I always praise them wholeheartedly, and write poems about nature, about women, and especially I glorify women very much. Just a second.
okay.
Yes. Yeah, hello. So I will, can you see me, or what happened to it? Yeah, yes, 1 second. Yes,
Ma'am, 1 minute, 1 minute.
yes.
So hope madam is ready for the session. That is why our spontaneous overflow with the poetry, as Wordsworth commented, it is coming on. Still, there are 2 more people to address you, ma'am. Please. So I extend.
Bala sir was calling me. Is there any problem, ma'am?
1
Bala
minute.
sir?
No, 1
Yeah.
minute.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Nothing. 1 minute. So we extend a very cordial welcome to the enthusiastic poetess Priyanka Banerjee on, and hope her spontaneous overflow of the emotions will be filling the session, the other 1 hour session more.
Though I am not in a tranquil mood now.
So,
Please continue,
ma'am,
ma'am.
hence I extend a cordial welcome to madam once again, and I do welcome all the participants on board who will support us. We had a webinar on partition literature. Your feedback was so good. Thank you so much. It is your encouragement that is making us to march towards success. Thank you all, my dear friends across India. And once again, I extend a cordial welcome to one and all on board. Thank you all, and over to the MC team. Over to you, Bini.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Being a good leader isn't about having power over others, but instilling power in others. Next, I would like to take this opportunity to invite our beloved principal, Dr. B. Anirudhan, the one who gives direction to every student and in the college, to deliver the presidential address. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much. Am I audible? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. And women, thy name is Par, and I do not know how did Bini found out the possibility of telling a powerful leader. I don't know. Anyway, it's so contextual. And dear Bini, dear Phoebe, and Dr. Malvi, other members of faculty, and a very powerful Priyanka Banerjee and others on this platform. And when I was studying in ninth standard. Many of you might not have born at that time. My children in the platform. One resource person. Now only I think he's a resource person. We use this word resource person quite often. And that time, one teacher came. He was talking about something, and that's just a Malayalam medium school. And he started talking in English, and he started with this, telling that poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, recollected in tranquility. So I didn't understand anything. Naturally, the guys in Malayalam medium or any vernacular medium won't understand it fully. And later I was trying to explore that and find out what the source of it and things like that. I think it was, I told that when I was in ninth standard. And then on, I was thinking about writing poems and reading Shakespeare, whether I understand it properly or not. And now again, Priyanka Banerjee was telling, now she is not in a mode of tranquility. And I have one-stop solution for that. I can anytime become tranquil because that's in my control. So you can be, you can bring that into your mind frame if you want it.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Anytime you can write poems. People who are very creative, they'll say, I need to have a place where things are very calm. I actually need to have a mindset. And mindset is always set by me. So me means anybody. So when it comes to literature, poem, and anything connected to the emotions of people around, I am into it always. So I've been a lover of literature. So I feel really honored to be with all of you, especially when young people come to the forefront in criticizing the social scenario, trying to empower people, be it downtrodden, be it rich, be it women, be it men, anybody. Empowering someone using the tool of literature is something. And if Priyanka would say that because of a few lines of mine, I've become popular. So for that, somebody was telling, Malti was quoting, success will come to your feet. So you keep on working relentlessly without expecting anything to fall in your favor as appreciation or money. You are destined to be successful. You are destined to be successful. Success will come to you and you will become a celebrity without your knowledge. And why people adore you, you means anybody for that matter. Why people adore you, you may not know. That is the power of words that we use. And that's the power of emotions that we express to people. And hence I feel this is really wonderful. So I have made my day today. Thank you all so much. Stay well, stay safe, stay connected, and stay emotional. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Bini.
Thank you, sir. I'm professionally elated to take this opportunity to invite person of the day, Ms. Priyanka Banerjee, poetess and academician, Kolkata West. It's our responsibility as well as our needs to further add our knowledge of our resource person journey in the field of teaching. For this, I would like to invite Nirmal Kumar of First MA English Literature for introducing the resource person.
Good morning to one and all presented here. Painting is a silent poetry and poetry is a painting that speaks. With this quote, I take this opportunity to introduce our resource person of the day, Ms. Priyanka Banerjee, poetess and academic, Kolkata, West Bengal, for taking time to share your views on exploring the world of poetry with us today. First of all, the heartiest congratulations to Ms. Priyanka Banerjee and emerging from India on becoming a member of World Nation Writers Union, Kazakhstan. We welcome her in the galaxy of the world writers and wish her for a bright literary career. Ms. Priyanka Banerjee hails from India. She qualified MA in English Literature from Rabindra Bharati University and MPhil from the Rabindra Bharati University. And at present, she is pursuing PhD on American Indian Literature from Rabindra Bharati University. She worked at the Rabindra Bharati University as a guest lecturer from 2005 to 2012 and at IGNOU University Study Center from 2006 to 2010. She worked at Victoria College as a whole-timer on contract basis in 2009. She served at the Shivpur College as a guest lecturer in 2015 and at Lal Baba College from 2016 to 2018, the guest lecturer at THK Jain College from 2018 to 2019. She got published one paper in UGC, the Care Lister journal, and she also got published her poems in International Online Journal and in the American Anthology on the topic Paradise on Earth. Several poems were published on the many international websites like Believest, WordPress, and etc. We are such honored to have her as our chief guest. Hope our joyful multitude will increase with your section. In welcome Ms. Priyanka Banerjee for the webinar. Welcome you, ma'am. Handing over section to you, ma'am.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yes. Good morning, Principal Sir, and good morning, HOD ma'am, and all the respected teachers and students. So, as I told you that I'm not a great academician, I'm just a student, and as Sir told that yes, I really don't expect anything, from life, but I'm just going on writing and writing as a warrior. So this is a war. Okay. So writing poetry, through poetry, I am expressing myself and my voice. I can convey my message to the entire world. So don't you think that poetry is the strongest medium through which one can raise his or her voice against all these anarchies that are going on in the world? I think so. So today, as Bala sir told me to talk about poetry, and not only about my poetry, but about English poetry. So first of all, I'd like to begin my lecture with the words that Aristotle said. So he said that history, deals with something that has already happened, whereas poetry deals with something that might happen. So you see, poetry deals with the infinite. Poetry deals with something that can be, very sublime, and it can deal with, the direst consequences of any incident that might have ruined someone. But poetry transforms. That is the principal feature of poetry, that it has the capacity to transform one event into something that leads us to the highest level of consciousness. Right. I hope that my students are not much, here the students are not much acquainted with the Upanishads, that is the Sanskrit text. But if you read Ishopanishad, that is the first part of Upanishad, there you will see that the mantras which are very much that can be chanted and have that poetic cadence, the Upanishad begins with the lines Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadayo Purnamevavashishyate. So you see, as I am not only a poet, you see, I'm a performer poet. I love to recite poems. I love to read out poems. I have my YouTube videos, and I have been reciting poems since my childhood days. So I always emphasize on the power of reading. When you are, reading out poems, when you are reading a poem, you have to recite it loudly. Otherwise, the sense of the poem cannot be conveyed properly, right? So, I talked about Upanishad. I will definitely connect these Upanishadic ideas with the Romantic poets. I would love to, poetry is a vast area, so it's not possible for me to talk about all the great poets of all the periods. So I would love to begin my discussion with Romantic poetry, Romantic age. So you see, the French Revolution, the Declaration of American Independence, then Marx's Das Kapital, the beginning of Industrial Revolution, all these incidents, all these, this book, then Burke's book, these events created a deep impact on the minds of the Romantic poets who wanted to bring in a transformation in the literary world by writing poems through which they could create an imaginative world where the I became very important, the I, as Wordsworth said, okay? So you see, when you are reading romantic poetry, like if I talk about Wordsworth, if you read Wordsworth, Immortality Ode or Tintern Abbey, you will find that they are very much different from those 18th century poets like Pope. These romantic poets are giving much more emphasis on subjective feelings, on emotions, on imagination, on the personal journey, okay, on the idea of the poet as a prophet. Whereas the 18th century poets, they believed in rationalism. But the romantics, they believe in imagination. What is Keats saying? My heart aches. I love this poem very much. And I taught this poem for the last 10 years at several universities and colleges. I hope you all know. Tell me, which poem is it? My heart aches and the drowsy numbness pains my senses, as though of hemlock I had drunk or emptied some dull opiate to the trains 1 minute past and leather words that sunk. 'Tis not through envy of a happy lot, but being too happy in thy happiness. Tell me the name of the poem. Anybody from the students? The students, Ode to a Nightingale. Right. So you see, the nightingale becomes the symbol of the poet's soul. The journey begins. The journey begins with a sensation of negation. The poet is trying to get detached from this external world so that he can, enter into that. He can reach that that stratum of that level of consciousness where he will be able to become one with his soul or Paramatma, that is Purnasya, as depicted or as portrayed or as delineated in that mantra of Upanishad, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purna. So don't you think that not only Wordsworth, but Keats was also very much influenced by Indian philosophy? If he wouldn't have been influenced by the Upanishadic idea of the, of the oneness of the concept of, the supreme consciousness, then how could he have written Ode to a Nightingale, in which he again and again, emphasizes on the fact that Nightingale, I want to become one with you. He first tries to take resort to the world of opium. Then he is trying to, drink liquor. Okay, so he is trying, and then finally on the wings of poesy. So poetry helps him ultimately to get, transported to that world where the nightingale is going on singing and singing forever. But finally, you have to keep it in your mind that these romantics are not escapists. They are well aware of the reality. They are coming back to the reality. So Nightingale ends. The very word is like a bell to toll me back from thee to my soul self. And that famous line, fancy cannot cheat so well as she's bent to do. So, oh fancy, oh imagination, you can cheat us. You can, help us to get transported to a different world of imagination for a temporary period. But ultimately, we have to come back to the reality. We have to realize the fact that yes, those three words, liberty, equality, and fraternity, it can change the world. We have to accept that America got independence. We have to accept the fact that Industrial Revolution, is wiping out the traces of Mother Nature from the bosom of earth. So that is why they are, they were nature lovers, they were romantics, but they are desperately loving Mother Nature. They're desperately trying to cling to the world of nature. Why? Because they've understood that it's because of this Industrial Revolution that our beautiful nature, is getting shattered. That's what exactly is happening. Okay? Now also, this corona, this pandemic, why? Because we have ruined nature. And nature is taking her revenge now, and we have to accept it, isn't it? So, you see, Wordsworth, all these romantic poets like Coleridge, Wordsworth, Shelley, they have common traits. They are lovers of nature, they are lovers of human beings. And as Wordsworth said, that use the language of common man, use the language of, the solitary reaper, use the language of Lucy, a common girl. Okay, and simple language, but there must be the power of imagination, and that imagination will transform that common language into something, extraordinary, that will generate a feeling of a sensation of thrill, a sensation of excitement into the minds of the readers. That's why when you were reading Coleridge's Kubla Khan, you see how wonderful the images are. A woman wailing for her demon lover. Have you ever found this kind of image in any of those poems written in the 18th century or in the 16th century, 17th century? No, a woman wailing for demon lover. Okay, so you see this. Please don't send messages now, okay? Because I'm getting distracted. Okay, so let me finish my talk, and then please I will entertain all the questions and everything. Now, please don't send the messages. So, striking, bold, powerful images. Coleridge is a mystic poet. Wordsworth is a philosophical poet. Wordsworth is philosophizing nature. Keats is beautifying nature. Coleridge is mystifying nature. You see, these romantic poets, they are teaching us how to appreciate nature, how to look at nature from different perspectives. In Tintern Abbey, Wordsworth writes that, that when he became old, then those cliffs, those structures and shapes of those hills, okay, the colors of the woods did no more appeal to him, because then he could realize the presence of that all-pervasive supreme consciousness within nature. So he's philosophizing nature, right? So he was very much influenced by the Upanishads. And Keats is beautifying. Keats is also a philosopher poet. He wrote on aggression, and he's talking about those engraved figures, those lovers who are about to kiss each other, but they haven't kissed each other. And, the sculptor has given a permanent value, a universal appeal to this, to their love by turning, by transforming their passion, okay, into their figures into a work of art. Got my point? And now again, when we are talking about Coleridge, we find that how wonderfully he is mystifying nature. In Kubla Khan, he's talking about the creative energy, he's talking about the creative force, about the damsel with a dulcimer, about river Alph, that, goes on, and ultimately the river becomes one with the sunless sea, sunless ocean, right? So each and every image that we find in romantic poetry is pregnant with symbolical meanings, deep symbolical significances. Okay, you can, even in Shelley's West Wind, if you interpret Shelley's West Wind from, from the political perspective, you can definitely feel that yes, as because there was a, social turmoil going on in that period, that Shelley also wanted to, create a transformation to his West Wind. So his West Wind is just, not only a natural phenomenon, but it is a symbol of tremendous power that is required now to bring in changes. And I also think that this power is very much needed in human life. I always love to write poems about positive feelings, about optimism. Okay, and I think that I'm very much influenced by the romantics, because in each and every sphere of life, this message is to my students. You see, in each and every sphere of life, you need power. If you want to be a writer, if you want to be a scientist, if you want to be a good human being, if you want to be a doctor, you need that power within yourself, because there are so many negative influences are there, which will always, create a negative feeling in your mind. But poetry helps you to get rid of those negative feelings and you move on. Okay, right. So now I would like to quote from some of the important poems of the romantic poets. You see how spontaneous, original, and authentic their voices are. First of all, I would like to quote from Coleridge's Dejection and Ode. Okay, a grief without a pang, void, dark, and drear, a stifled, drowsy, unimpassioned grief, which finds no natural outlet, no relief in words or sigh or tear. And now, From Ode to the West Wind by Shelley, just 2 lines. Oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorns of life. I breathe. Okay, now from Tintin. So I hope that I am also successful in teaching you the art of recitation, right? Because that is an inevitable part of poetry. Okay, so Tintin Abbey by Wordsworth. I hope that all of you have read this one. That's a wonderful poem in which the poet is talking about the natural world, that he's describing those natural scenes, and he is depicting, the stages of development, okay, that the poet had undergone as a nature lover in this wonderful poem. Beauteous forms here refer to those natural scenes. Through a long absence have not been to me, as is a landscape to a blind man's eye. But oft, in lonely rooms, and mid the din of towns and cities, I have owed to them, in hours of weariness, sensations sweet, felt in the blood and felt along the heart, and passing even into my purer mind with tranquil restoration. Okay, so these are some of the of the poems that I think that you all must read, and that's why I have tried to quote from these poems to give you the idea of that that strong, irresistible, original, authentic voice that these romantic poets expressed through their poems. Okay, now if we think about Victorian age, then I will suggest you to read definitely all the poets, but especially I have a special interest in Robert Browning. Okay, so if you read Browning's poetry, I hope you have read Browning's dramatic monologues. Have you read Browning's dramatic monologues? Please
Yes, ma'am.
answer me. Yes,
Yes,
you have
yes.
read. Which one? Which one?
My Last Duchess.
So what is your impression of Browning's poetry? Just one line.
He
What do you
picturized
think
the
about-
Victorian England. He picturized the
Okay, okay, that's all. You see, Browning writes dramatic monologues, so that is a different type of poem. So you see, poetry, that is a vast topic. There are different types of poems, okay? Odes are there, lyrics are there, ballads are there, dramatic monologues are there. Okay, so in Browning's dramatic monologue, what is happening? If you read Browning, I love Browning. I have taught Browning's poems also for several years. That's why I'm talking about Robert Browning. Browning's characters are facing their repressed, choked up, feelings and emotions, okay, in that dramatic monologue. So, monologue and dramatic, that means the element of drama is present there. So this element of drama makes the poem very, very interesting to the readers, isn't it? Suppose The Last Ride Together. When I was a PG student, I memorized the entire poem, but now I forget all the lines, just the beginning stanza. I said then, dearest, since 'tis so, since then at length my fate I know. I said then, dearest, since 'tis so, since now at length my fate I know, since nothing all my love avails, since all my life meant for felt, since this was written and needs must be, my whole heart rises up to bless your name in pride and thankfulness. My mistress. Then I just I forget the lines. Anyway, so you see, the poem begins in such a dramatic way, isn't it? I said then, dearest, since 'tis so. So much of emphasis has given on since, and since suggests what? Condition. Condition, in love. Condition in love. Okay, so I said then, dearest, since 'tis so. Since, again, stress on since. Since, I said then, dearest, since 'tis so. Since now at length my fate I know. Since nothing all my love avails. Since all my life main purpose. This is a dramatic monologue. The poet is expressing his, he's a rejected lover. We all know that he has been rejected by his beloved. But though he has been rejected by his beloved, since I know all my life meant for fails, my heart, My whole heart rises up to bless your name in pride and thankfulness. So Browning, I love Browning. Why? Because of his positive attitude, because of his optimistic attitude to life. He is never ready to accept defeat. Defeat. Again, I remember that famous poem by Khalil Gibran. Please read the poem Defeat. I have my YouTube channel and I have recited that poem. And if you want, I can share that link with you. That's a wonderful poem written by written by Khalil Gibran. Okay, so defeat, my defeat, like that. Okay. As if defeat the poet's beloved. The poet is, romancing with defeat. The poet is loving, defeat. The poet is falling in love with defeat. That's okay. So he has, and in the final stanza of the poem, he has transformed defeat into his, soulmate. And he says that, oh, defeat, we together will face the challenges of life. We will dare face the challenges of life. Okay. And defeat, you are mine. You are absolutely, my existence, my inevitable part of life. That's a wonderful poem. I will read out a few lines from Defeat later. Now let's come back to Robert Browning. You see, it's such a vast area. I'm just shifting from one poet to another, and then from that poet to another poet. So Browning is never ready to accept the fact that life is a loss. No, not like that. If you read Tennyson's Ulysses, that's again a wonderful poem. To strike, to seek, isn't it? To ill and not to yield, not to rust unvarnished. Yes, I also believe in that, in those words. We all are brave warriors, and poetry makes us bolder. Poetry gives us courage. If you read Sylvia Plath's Daddy, okay, so you will see how powerful the poem is. So this intense power. So one poem can be the source of so much of power that it will empower you, it will strengthen you, it will help you to look at the world from a different perspective, and it will help you to face the challenges in a powerful way. So Browning's rejected lover is not ready to accept defeat. And in the concluding stanzas, the rejected lover, he boldly says that what if the world ends tonight? That is my question also. The pandemic is going on. What if the world ends tonight? No, don't worry. Browning's rejected lover is saying that even if the world ends tonight, the journey will continue. The journey will never come to an end. That is the message that Tennyson also conveys through his wonderful dramatic monologue, that is Ulysses. Ulysses, who is not ready to accept defeat, though he has become old, though he has, though Telemachus will rule over the land, and I will again begin my journey with my mariners. Come, I can hear the sound of the sea. I can hear the sound of the waves crashing upon the beach. So to strive, to seek, and not to yield, and not to rust unvarnished. That's why I like Victorian poets Browning and Tennyson very much. Okay, now let's come to the modern age. Okay, so we all know that these world wars shattered, Europe in the modern period, and there was so much of fragmentation. People suffered from and that happened in the Victorian age also, because of Darwin's theory. The intellectuals had already started, suffering from a feeling of disbelief, and that is why, Matthew Arnold, he writes the poem that we are ignorant. Dover Beach. In Dover Beach, he writes that we are ignorant armies clashing by night. So we are ignorant armies clashing by night. Are we ignorant armies clashing by night? Do you think so? I am asking my students, do you think that we are ignorant armies clashing by night? Yes or no? Tell me. Do you support this line that I'm quoting from Dover Beach, the famous poem, we are ignorant armies clashing by night? Because it's because of this pandemic that we are also facing a crisis. So many people lost their lives, and I would love to share a personal incident of my life. I also suffered terribly from corona. I was about to die. My oxygen level dipped down to 64 only in last October. I was saved by God's grace. And then my father suffered from corona. But he also, came back home But then my grandmother suffered from corona, and we couldn't save her life. I lost my grandmother in corona. But still, I don't believe that we are ignorant armies clashing by night. Because I know that so many brothers and sisters of mine have lost their lives. Okay, I know that people have lost their nearest and dearest ones because of this corona. But still, I believe in the words of Tennyson. I believe in the words of Browning. The journey must continue. And in the modern age, if you read W.B. Yeats's poems, you will again, you will find that yes, there are poems of hope, there are poems of positive spirit, there are poems of optimism, which helps us to fight against that fragmentation, to fight against that confusion, to fight against all those conflicts, all those barriers which stop us, which prohibit us, which create obstacles, on the path of journey. Okay, so if you read Yeats, I hope that you all have read Yeats' The Second Coming. Have you read it, my dear students? Please tell me. I want you people to participate in the discussion also. Have you read Yeats' The Second Coming, W.B. Yeats'? How many of you? How many of you have read Yeats' The Second Coming? Please answer me.
Yes.
One, only one. Anybody else? Okay, so you see, Yeats recognized that the causes of violence, disorder, and repression are complex and have to be confronted and understood. So his The Second Coming is a chilling vision of impending death and dissolution. And I hope that you all remember those famous lines. Do you remember the beginning lines of The Second Coming? Do you remember the lines? Can you please read out the lines from The Second Coming? Turning and turning round the gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer.
Things falls apart.
Then the blood-dim tide, I don't remember the exact lines, is loosed upon the world. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, like that. Please tell me.
Things fall apart. The center
Things
cannot
falls
fall.
apart.
Okay, yes. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. You see, the Industrial Revolution had already shattered Europe in the Victorian period. That is why Charles Dickens wrote Hard Times, isn't it? Okay, so the Industrial Revolution and Darwin's or The Origin of Species, all these had created a deep impact on the minds of the intellectuals. Okay, and these intellectuals have already suffered from a feeling of confusion. They don't know whether God exists or not. So they have, they're talking about ignorant armies clashing by night. Now, after the First World War, things again became disastrous. Okay, so that is why the Westland, if you read Eliot's The Westland, you will see that how wonderfully the poet is, he's portraying the picture of the massacre through his poem. Okay, but in Yeats's The Second Coming, we find that the poet is, he is depicting that disastrous ambience, is trying to convey the sensation of loss, the sensation of ruin, the sensation of shattered existence to this wonderful poem. The center is lost forever. So decentered structure exists now. And how to, face this decentered structure? We need to face it. We need the power of religion. And that is why, in the second stanza of the poem, you see the poet is, I'm reading out, the poet is taking resort to the world of religion. He is, praying to Christ. Yes, you come again, but not as that beautiful child that was born in, that was born in Jerusalem, but you come as a terrible beast. Okay, so you see, he is saying, surely some revolution is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming, hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert bards. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were wet to nightmare by a rocking cradle, and what rough beast its hour come round at last slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Okay, so sorry, it was Bethlehem. So here you see the poet begins his poem with the depiction of the loss. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold, mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. But finally, he is taking resource to the world of religion. So, yes, and even T.S. Eliot in the Westland also, we find that though they are feeling that the massacre is there, that the ruin is there, but religious belief always helps one to, to face the crisis, isn't it? So that is why I'm also again quoting from Eliot's The Westland, that is from the thunder, what the thunder said. So you see there are images that Eliot uses, in the Westland. The images are original and novel, striking and obscure, drawn from a discordant urban, urban life rather than a harmonious rural life. Okay, so these images are very much different from Keats's images. Remember it, very much different from Wordsworth's images. There was a stability in the society then, though they had been, suffering from due to social and political upheavals, but still there was a stability, still there was an element of serenity in their lives. But that serenity is almost lost in the modern world. After the First World War, things got completely shattered. So Eliot is writing, what is the city over the mountains? Cracks and reforms and bursts in the violet air, falling towers. Jerusalem, Athens, Alexandria, Vienna, London, unreal. So everything has become unreal now. Okay, and here you see how wonderful the images are. Bursts, cracks, reforms. So as if these words, bursts, cracks, splits, fragmentation, these words define and determine human existence now. The nightingale, the solitary reaper, the meadows, the sunless ocean, River Alp, do no more define our existence. Eliot is saying cracks, bursts, and April is the cruelest month. Okay, but again I must say that these modern poets still believed in the existence of grand narratives, which the postmodernists do not believe in, right? So, Eliot also finally coming back to the, he's taking research to the world of religion, and his wonderful poem, the Westland, ends with those famous mantras that he quoted from Brihadaranyaka Upanishads, Datta, Damayatta. Okay, so to give, to renounce, to forsake. So that's what Indian Upanishads taught them, isn't it? That ultimately peace is within. Ultimately, you have to find out the source of peace and the source of solace within. And don't you remember, I have also recorded and recited this poem, that's there in my YouTube channel, Kamala Das's Ghanashyam. I hope that you all have read the poem, in which Das says that, oh Ghanashyam, now you have become mine and I have become yours. I had lovers, who didn't even recognize me, who had forgotten about my identity as a woman after making love with my body, isn't it? And my husband used to fall asleep when I demanded love from him. my lovers used to be oblivious of my existence after touching my body. They failed to touch my heart. They failed to touch my soul. But oh, you, Ghanshyam. So you see, if you read the poem, it creates an intense feeling of love and an intense feeling of, a sublime, an intense, sublime emotion of love in the poem. And there, Das is saying that, oh, Ghanshyam, let's become one. If you come to me right now, okay, I am ready to accept you with all the power and with all the impetuous zeal of my soul. And then when we will make love with each other, we will forget about the barrier existing between the mortal and the immortal, existing between the, the carnal desires and spiritual love. We will forget about the barrier existing between the earth and the heaven. We will become one, and then I will really feel, that power of love within me, isn't it? And I would love to recite a few lines from Ghanshyam. Are you interested in listening to it? Then I will proceed, or otherwise not. Please, ma'am and the students, I'm asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, because it's a fantastic poem, and I love to recite very much, because that's part of my poetic journey. Because without recitation, I think that understanding of poetry is incomplete. One second, let me find it out. Ghanshyam poem by Kamala Das. One second, just. I just can't find it out, that's the problem. Anyway, I hope you can read it. I hope you all have read the poem. Okay, so I just can't find it out. It's available, very much available, but I don't know why internet is not working.
Ma'am, once again, please say the poem, ma'am.
Ghanshyam by Kamala Das. I will find it out. Just a second. Ghanshyam poem by Kamala Das. That's a very famous poem. It's about Krishna, Lord Krishna. In fact, I also read a poem about Lord Krishna. I had written a poem about Lord Krishna. So that's why I love the poem very much. A semi-autobiographical, semi-religious and semi-classical poem. Das's Ghanshyam. Okay, I got it. Right. Okay. Yes. Actually, you see, this is, as I told you, that in this poem, the Kamala Das is talking about her journey of life, in which she talks about the lovers with whom she didn't build up any spiritual connection. She talks about her husband, okay? And then finally, she realizes that it's only her Ghanshyam, her God, her Krishna, who can, love her, okay, soul, and that is the ultimate love. Okay, so I am now reciting the last stanza of the poem. Okay. Okay, yes, right. And each time, please listen to it very carefully. And each time my husband, his mouth bitter with sleep, kisses, mumbling to me of love. But if he is you, and I am you, you means Ghanshyam. But if he is you, and I am you, that means if you become my husband, and if I become one with you, very much like Ardhanarishwar, both Shiva and Parvati, one present in, in one body, and that body or that image is worshipped as Ardhanarishwar in Hindu religion. So here she is saying, but if he is you and I am you, who is loving who? Who is the husk? Who the kernel? Where is the body? Where is the soul? You come in strange forms, and your names are many. Is it then a fact that I love the disguise and the name more than I love you? Can I consciously weaken bonds? The child's umbilical cord shrivels and falls. But new connections begin, new traps arise, and new pains. Ghanusham, the sail of the eternal sun, the blood of the eternal fire, the hue of the summer air. I want a peace that I can tote like an infant in my arms. I want a peace that will doze in the whites of my eyes when I smile. The ones in saffron robes told me of you, and when they left, I thought only of what they left unsaid. And then, Sham, oh Ghanusham, you have like a fisherman cast your net in the narrows of my mind, and towards you my thoughts today must race like enchanted fish. Okay, I hope you all have read the poem. So that's a brilliant poem. That's a wonderful poem, and it really touches our hearts. And you see that Das here is emerging not only as a feminist poet, not only as a woman who is desperately trying to talk about her sufferings that she had undergone as a woman. No, here she is not emerging as only as a feminist poet, but here her deep religious beliefs, have been expressed, okay, through the use of, image or symbol that is Ghanusham. She loves to become one with Ghanusham. She hasn't been loved by any of her lovers. She hasn't been loved by her husband also. That was not love. Physical relation only, sex is not true love. Sex is just a part of love. And that is what T.S. Eliot has also boldly declared in the Westland. There he says that love, sex without love. Okay, so all I am now trying to interlink, okay, all these poets. So Keats, very much like Keats, who is repeatedly trying to become one with a nightingale, because nightingale is Keats's Ghanusham, right? Tintern Abbey is Wordsworth's Ghanusham. River Alph is Coleridge's Ghanusham. So that is who is Ghanusham? Holding a flute in his hand, male god. No, you have to understand the inner idea, the sublime essence, the purest instinct of love that resides within. Okay, so I hope that I can finish. I can stop here discussing about I have discussed about all the important poems and the important poets that I love very much. Now I would love to read out my poems. So before that, I would like to ask you whether you are interested in listening to my poems. Then I will start
Yes, ma'am.
reading out. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes, madam, we are very much interested.
Actually, I have written so many poems, so I just want to know whether, you love to listen nature poems or love poems. So, you please tell me.
Nature poems.
Okay. Recently, I have written a love poem, but before that, I would love to read out my nature poem, Challenge. Challenge. This is a short poem that I have written. It's not only about nature, but it's also about the journey. It's also about the positive force and energy that I have always emphasized upon. I challenge the sky and rain wash away my rocky shores. I challenge the earth and red dust overpower my shrinking pores. I challenge the bare branches and their hardness strengthen my mad heart. I challenge the light and epiphany illuminates my sleepless dark nights. I challenge myself and I forget to pine for the memories of my lost fight. Okay, so this is a challenge, and then I am asking you one thing. Recently, I have written a poem about love from the perspective of Rose, the heroine of the movie Titanic. And I hope that the students will love it. What's your opinion? Please tell me. Then I can read out the poem. Though it's not a poem that will touch you deeply, but still it's a good poem. Tell me. But there are other poems also, other love poems also. I mean, shall I read out the Titanic poem or
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
something else?
Titanic.
Okay. Then I will read it. Okay. After reading two other poems of mine. Okay.
Yes.
This is about poetry because you see this entire webinar is about poetry. So I have recently written a poem about poetry. Okay, so I'm reading out this poem now. I hope you all will love it. Poetry, you wake up. Please listen to it very carefully, okay? Because this is, I actually, I sometimes I become very much, my poems become very much difficult for the readers to understand because I become very much philosophical also. So I will request my students to listen to the words very carefully, okay? Poetry, you wake up. When dreams and words and visions are woven together, and a single illuminated feather of a lovely swallow paints the star-studded sky, poetry is born out of light, rain, and wind and never dies. When moments and memories and rhythm are woven together, and dancing words kindle up the bonfire, emotions and music soothe the tormented hearts of silent lovers. Songs of prayers can be heard from the gorges and the innermost depth of hearts. Poetry is born out of mud, blood, and dust, and the rusted sword shines again. Poetry becomes the part of lightning, thunderstorm, and dazzling drops of rain that embraces the last flood, absorbing the last moments of love and birth and rebirth and loss and powerlessness. When the sea water gushes out of a single broad cave, unseen, unexplored, when the elemental beauty of those neglected conch shells create a mad, mad uproar in the distant, dreamy world of whirling comets, poetry is born and reborn again and again out of those mad, mad hearts that have been ripped apart in the silent cosmic world of beauty and gratitude. Every moment suddenly a new poem is born, like a naked, blasted, dried up heat that's connected to the earth, yet terribly neutral, aloof. Words absorb the cravings of bone marrows, arousals remain no more confined into the world of deepest sympathy and touches. Poetry destabilizes and stabilizes the world of loftiest adoration and sublime bliss. The veil of darkness drops again. The poet is mad again, tonight, every night. Okay, so that's poetry. You wake up. Done. And Now, a love poem. Shall I read out my love poem?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
This
madam.
is this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
this is about love. About
Yeah.
I mean, this is the title of my poem is love. Okay, and after reading out this poem, I will finally read my Titanic poem. Okay, and my discussion I will end there.
Yes.
This poem I have recently. This is also just 2 days back I wrote it, and people loved this poem very much. Love. The journey begins when the dusk fell and the withered leaves tell the story of love and lovelessness together, reminding the earth of the soft touches of the old eagle's feather that had broken the heart of the ancient boulders that resist the flowing turbulent river, provoking the aimless wanderer to search for nectar in the bosom of the lost lover who loves to adore the still lake, calm, transparent, fairy within, that dares reflect the shadows of those touched lips and untouched hearts with a liberty and joy that those mad hearts can only feel amidst deep nocturnal silence. The journey begins when the evening descends and the broken pieces of the shattered mirror suddenly reflect the blue glow of the vast sky that's about to embrace the frozen, gloomy horizon, which is stirred up by the dust storm and the mad, mad tempest, absorbing the lover's sensations of unrest and bafflement and anxiety of the burdened heart that beats so fast when he touches her unfolded waist and the hidden lotus blooms, denying the sacredness of superficial bondages and the breathlessness of the hidden saplings that cling to the rocky shore that lie between you and me in the distant land of dreams, desires, and savage impulses of noblest beings. The journey begins when shy hours march with epiphanic moments, and moments feel the impulse of the liberated centuries. History is transformed into myth, and myth loses its grandeur amidst the vast thorny garden of infinite joy and caves of eternal pain. The fountain bursts out, the galaxies become motionless, the black holes embrace new universe, spaces invent new spaces of love, bondages, affection, and mercy. The water bubbles desperately engulf the swelled up bosom of the ocean. New songs of love and inspiration and togetherness can be heard at the center of the trembling earth. And the extinguished heart inspires the silhouetted images to fall in love with the bonfire. Love suddenly reveals the truth and the naked secrets of time that's ripe for the massacre. The journey begins from the core of heart to the vast space where the floating planets are eager to tell the saddest tale of separation and romance. The journey began centuries ago. The journey begins tonight again. Let's walk and breathe together and feel love amidst the splits, fragmented particles, and those bare, barren branches of the ancient trees that still provide shelter to the old owls whose eyes burn and burn till the earth is turned into a dark hole and the sun-kissed beach flourishes within, spreading its hue and glow over our restless bodies, desperately clinging to each other, celebrating a moment of love and lovelessness together. Let love baffle not the tormented hearts anymore. Thank you. This is my poem, Love. Have you liked it?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, madam.
Wonderful,
Nice
wonderful
poem.
poem.
Wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Its creation is completely spellbound. So nice.
This poem Love is completely my creation. I mean, I haven't even used a single word from any other poem. Just 2 days back I wrote it, and my Titanic poem is not as deep as this love poem is, but my students will love the Titanic poem. So that's why I am reading out the poem now, because it's the student themselves with that poem. Love is very philosophical. This love is about love that is very deep. Okay, Okay. Just a second, because all my poems are posted on Facebook. I do. I haven't even collected them else. Just a second. Let me find it out. One second. Can you see me now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
You
Yes.
can see me. Okay, fine. It's here. It's here. It's in this mobile. So I'm just reading it out from this mobile. No need to find it out somewhere else. It's here. Now. This love got published in the Nigerian blog, and it will also be published in an American anthology, Paradise on Earth, Part 2. I have also written a poem, Kali, that's about feminine energy. So shall I read out Kali or Titanic poem? You please suggest it to me, ma'am.
Titanic.
Anything which
Read
you
both.
will.
Kali is about tremendous feminine force,
No,
and
ma'am.
Titanic
We
poem.
need love poem, Titanic. Ma'am.
We read a modern love poems, ma'am. Yes, like Titanic.
Okay, let me find it out. I wrote it a few weeks before, so I have to find it out. You wake up is done. Just a second. The Soliloquy of Rose. Okay, it is the name of the poem is The Soliloquy of Rose. Just let me tell you something. Jack died decades ago, but Rose, it still exists. Okay, so Rose is, uh, uh, talking about her feelings in this poem. So you understood the background of the poem? Okay, so Rose is, she is still living in this world, and she is remembering those moments that she had spent with Jack, okay, years ago. But finally, again, what I have done in the concluding stanza, I have made a twist. So, in the film, we find that the old woman, Rose, has become old and she is pining for Jack. But here I have again, you will find that there is a twist, there is a shift in the concluding stanza. No pining, no lamentation. It ends with a optimistic note. Okay, so you will understand it when I will read out the poem. The title of my poem is The Soliloquy of Rose. It's a very powerful poem also, because in this poem I have, tried to portray the conflict that took place between the Atlantic and the lovers. Okay, so Rose is the protagonist and the Atlantic is the antagonist, like that, and love is there. The feeling of love pervades. The battle began between you and me. The battle began between the heartless vast ocean and the bloodless blue hearts of the desperate lovers. The battle began between the approaching death and the sacred quest for life. That was a massacre full of stripes. The icebergs didn't know how the secrets of hearts and the warmth of blood can give birth to a new universe, where the faded shadows boldly cling to other shadows, and love can rewrite history of life, death, blood, and sweat with arduous passion and the urge for creation that arrests the motion of the breathing universe. The Atlantic didn't spare your life. Oh, Jack, it entered into your beautiful green veins that loved to tremble when my invisible drops of rain. Oh my God, sorry. Just
Deva, it's all right, Deva.
No,
Yes,
madam,
sir.
not audible. Sir, I think madam left. Check. Could you check,
She has
Professor?
mistakenly left. She will join back, I suppose.
Yes, I think. But the full actually the platform is full, I think.
No, 99 only is there, na? It's
Okay,
98
madam.
only is there. They'll join. She'll join. Somebody can call and take it from.
I think she got the network issue, ma'am. I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's an
Can
iceberg.
you
Yeah,
hear
she
me?
joined. She
Hello?
joined, ma'am. She
Yeah.
joined.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
actually,
As a
yeah.
yes, ma'am. Like as a participant has pointed out, an iceberg in between the Titanic. That was the comment from the participant. It's an
So you
iceberg.
see, I am so happy today. My students are so romantic, very much like me. Always be romantic. Okay. And ma'am, I just want to say one thing. If you are not a romantic, person, you cannot write poetry. Can you tell
Obviously,
me?
we cannot. We
Obvious.
cannot.
If you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
feel romance within your heart, it's not only man-woman romance. Romance with nature, romance with icebergs. That is also romance, isn't it? And
That's
in this
why people
context,
were able to comment immediately when there's a technical fault.
yes.
Immediately they said it's an iceberg.
Yes, and ma'am, there is a very famous poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, that is in Bengali. Do you know Bengali? Anybody here? Anybody knows Bengali?
Yes, ma'am. I know.
You know Bengali. I will translate it into English. Tagore says, that's a very famous poem by Rabindranath Tagore. Moron re, I am a Bengali. You know that? I am a Bengali. Okay. So Tagore says, Moron re tuhu mamo sham shoman. Oh death, you are like Sri Krishna to me. So he had been romancing with death in that poem. So romance is not only about man-woman romance. Romance, has several layers of significances, right? Now I am again beginning from the first stanza of the poem, the soliloquy of Rose. Okay. The battle began between you and me. The battle began between the heartless vast ocean and the bloodless blue hearts of the desperate lovers. The battle began between the approaching death and the sacred quest for life that was a massacre full of stripes. The icebergs didn't know how the secrets of hearts and the warmth of blood can give birth to a new universe where the faded shadows boldly cling to other shadows, and love can rewrite history of life, death, blood, sweat with arduous passion and the urge for creation that arrests the motion of the breathing universe. The Atlantic didn't spare you. Oh, Jack, it entered into your beautiful green veins that loved to tremble when my invisible drops of rain adored you in moments of pain, and separation. Atlantic is mad again tonight. And as I stretch my vision towards the star-studded canopy and reach the world beyond the truth and lies, we lie on our liquid floating bed of soothing calm ocean together forever, counting the stars, and the dancing waves kiss our feet, bosom and eyes. With love, we hold on to each other, watching the Titanic cutting through the icebergs and moving ahead with a solemn pride in a starry, blessed night, wiping out the traces of that dark, blasted night. The dancing waves create now the symphony of love forever, defying the massacre, and I discover you within me again tonight, every night. A new tale of love is born out of the memories of the broken ship, parted lips that were about to kiss, and unfulfilled dreams that the insane ocean failed to snatch away from me. Every night you become my turbulent ocean. Every night, oh Jack, I become your one and only wave, rising up and falling upon your soft, half-frozen bosom with an impetuous force, and I lose my existence. I become half ocean, half woman then. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, ma'am. Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. Spellbounding session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. The last line is a striking one. I become half ocean, half woman then. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear students. Thank you, all the teachers, all the professors, respected professors and principals are also. So if the students want to ask any question, I am here.
Yeah, now the forum is open for discussion. If you have any questions, you can please.
Yes, madam. This is Dr. Raj Kumar, Department of English. First, a few words about your session. It is really wonderful, and you gave us the experience of all your poetries, and really in the way you have expressed the ideas and all is really beautiful. So it's not a question, ma'am. It's a class. Um, First one, could you say about the poetic language, how it should, whether it should convenient to the poet or convenient to the reader or convenient to both of them? And another one questions is personal questions that when you write your poetry, could you able to transform all your emotions into the poetic form, or you face any lag in that? Could you comment on that?
Very
That's all.
intelligent. Very intelligent personal question.
Yes, yes.
Oh, so you want to know about my personal feelings?
Yes, ma'am. Would you able to bring everything into the poetic form? Is my doubt. I'm not a poet, but I'm just asking. I could ask only a poet, no? So that's.
So first question, what is your first question? That language. See, I'm a very frank person. Okay, so I would love to reveal my personal experiences, and I'd love to share it with all of you. You see, people, poets who are writing poems nowadays, I find that there are so many good poets out there. They are, writing poems, and their poems are getting published in different channels, online blog sites, etc., etc. One of my teachers is also a very good poet. Okay, he's my sir, and I had to use at least 2 dictionaries while reading his one poem. Okay, so I personally feel that through your poem, when a poet, suppose I am a poet, I am writing a poem. For whom? Yes, for me, I'm expressing myself, I'm expressing, my thoughts, my emotions, definitely. But I'm writing the poem. Am I writing the poem only for intellectuals, only for scholars, only for English honors people, only for PhD scholars, only for Americans, or only for British people? No. I'm writing the poem for the mass also, for the students, for the engineers, for the doctors. So many readers are there. If you become my Facebook friends, then you will find that people who, who are clerks, who are common people, okay, not intellectuals, they are also appreciating my poems. They are understanding my poems because I do not use any complicated word in my poem. I read out 3 poems of mine. I hope you all have understood it. I avoid difficult words in my poems because I believe that if I use difficult words, then how can it be the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings? It's spontaneous. It is spontaneously coming from within. Okay, so again I'm saying that it is my style. It's very difficult to define or to determine one particular style for a poem. I cannot, teach you to write a poem. When you will write a poem, you will use your words, you will express your emotions. But I always believe that through a poem, your voice is, you are trying to convey your message to the mass, to the common people. Okay, all. So be as simple as possible. But through my simple words, I am exploring the world of deepest emotions. Okay, so that is my answer to your first question. That is again my style of writing poetry. The second one is, you see, poetry is not always about personal feelings. I have written poems about prostitutes. I have written poems about whores. I have written poems about raped women. Okay, so when I am writing a poem, this love poem or this, nature poem, obviously these poems reflect my personal passions and emotions. But when I decided to write a poem from the perspective of Rose, I became Rose. That night, I became Rose. Yes, I enter into that character. I became Rose. And I'm just sharing my personal feeling with you. I had been listening the song, My Heart Will Go On, for 15 days. I planned to write a poem about Rose's love from the perspective of Rose, but I didn't then know how to write that poem. I didn't know how to form the structure of the poem. What will be my images? I was only listening to that song of Celine Dion every night. And then suddenly the poem was born one night. Poetry happens. After writing the poem, I cannot rewrite it. It happens when it happens. It happens when the inspiration comes out from within. And once it's over forever. If you tell me, ma'am, you again write another poem like this, I cannot. But when the inspiration will work from within, I will create another masterpiece. So it happens like that. So it's not always about my personal feelings. I become Rose. I enter into the psyche of the prostitute. I entered into the psyche of Nirbhaya. I felt Nirbhaya and I wrote a poem about Nirbhaya. I entered into the subconscious mind of the mythical character, of the character of our epic Mahabharata, Yagdashani. That image of Yagdashani is Draupadi is very much appealing to me. I love Draupadi's that powerful personality. Okay, and Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya, that very Sanskrit mantra inspires me very much. This mantra Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya, whenever adharma or whenever the evil spirit will ruin the world, the spirit of dharma, the spirit of religion will empower human beings. Doesn't W.B. Yeats convey the same message in the second coming? Oh God, you come as half beast and half God, and you destroy the world. This world needs destruction, and that is what exactly happening in the Hindu myth also, isn't it? Narasingha Rup of Lord Vishnu. So I enter into the psyche of Narasingha. In my Kali poem, I became Mother Kali. Now you will say that man is talking something nonsense. How can man become Kali? Yes, Kali is within me. Nirbhaya is within me. Rose is within me. Everything is within your mental world. You expand yourself. You get connected to the infinite power. You get connected to the universe. You get connected to the stars. You get transported to another level of existence. And there, yes, you are infinite energy. There you are Kali. Who says that you are a finite? Who says that you cannot cross the barrier? Who says that you are a limited being? No. While writing poetry, one must expand himself or herself and get connected to all. Get connected to the universe. Not only the energy, this structure, this body. This is a limited space. But when I'm writing a poem, I am coming out of my limited space and I'm becoming one with Krishna, with Kali, with Rose, with Jam, with anybody. This is a mental world. This is a spiritual world, the world of the soul. There is no barrier. That is my answer to the second question.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
am Dr. Devendran from Nehru Watson Science College. And my question is, what make you to write? And what is your instinct? If Wordsworth or STC, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, they have opium, or even Wordsworth walked 40 miles and had a, then again he start recollecting all the ideas, especially that is a tranquility overflow emotional feelings. So that way what you makes or what the instinct makes poem.
You're talking about my instincts.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, my source of inspiration.
Yeah. What make you to write poem? Maybe somebody will have
Yes,
this
because
type of
I
opium.
haven't tested opium, right?
Okay.
I haven't tested opium, I haven't tested liquor, I haven't tested drug or anything else, but I can write poems because I have gone through phases of sufferings also in my life. I have seen life. Okay. I have seen how cruel, how brutal people can be. I have seen how loving people can be. I have seen how ruthless people can be. I have seen how people suffer. I have seen how people make others suffer. If I wouldn't have undergone these phases in my life, I couldn't have felt, that emotional surge within my heart. That is a good question. A poet needs to explore and a poet needs to experience different phases of emotions in his or her life. Otherwise, it's impossible. Otherwise, now making me cry. Why? Who is crying, my dear? Ma'am, now making me cry. Who is crying? Oh my God. Why crying? Oh my child, don't cry. You see, actually what happened, though I didn't want to share all these feelings with you. It happened actually. I cried. I had to cry also at a college. I was very young then. I was only 23 then when I joined my university as a guest lecturer. And I was also joined a college at a very young age. So there what happened, one teacher of mine, she was the head of the department and she tried to harass me, okay, because I was very, very, very popular at that time. And then I cried. I cried. Years ago, I cried. And that feeling of pain, that feeling of, deprivation, has turned me into a rebel. Sometimes I become a rebel because I cannot protest against the injustices always. So I take resort to my world of poetry and I talk about rebellion. I talk about, revolution also. I have written a poem about history and revolution, and I have used these two words. A woman can lead a continent, but still her lover is not repentant. It's difficult to understand the meaning of these two lines, but I hope you will understand everything. These two lines will sum up, the philosophy of life. So life has unfolded itself to me and I have explored life. I have seen how people deceive others, how people, make others cry. I have been loved by several teachers of mine also, but I have been criticized by my, readers also very much. So all these experiences together have formed my psyche, my poetic consciousness. And it's not always about me or myself. That I told you, that I become Rose, I become Kali. So I shift from one state of consciousness to another level of consciousness. I can do that. If you are a person of meditative nature, you can do that. You can shift from one level of consciousness to another level of consciousness, from the gross to the subtlest, and then again come back. I come back from the subtlest to the gross. This shifting is there. A split is there within me. I'm a mother of 2 kids. I'm a mother of 2 kids. My son is 11 years old. So I play the role of the mother. And then when I do my research work, I become a research scholar. And then when I talk to my husband, I become a wife. When I talk to my parents, I become their daughter. You see, so many selves are there. When I deliver lecture, I become a lecturer. When I talk to my friends, I become their dearest friend. When I write poems, I become a poet who is above, who is beyond everything. So you have to move beyond the ultimate limit. I don't know whether you understood it or not.
Yes.
Everything cannot be
Thank you.
conveyed.
Thank you so much.
Everything cannot be conveyed. You have to feel it.
Yes.
Isn't
Thank
it?
you,
The
thank you, Priyanka ma'am. That's
ma'am.
a wonderful deliberation you're making and sharing your personal views also. Thank you so much. And dear participants, since we are running short of time, it's already
Yes,
12:43.
yes.
We are running short of time, and we are
I talked a
requested.
lot. Sorry.
No, not like that. But we were enjoying, and we never knew that the time has flew off like this. So we didn't know the time flying off. Hence, we are stopping. And before we stop, it is our pleasure to congratulate Ashwini of 2nd BA English Literature. She is a budding poet. I mean, she's a budding poetess, and she has received an award. I think Dr. Vijayaraghavan, the class tutor, take the pride of sharing it. If Ashwini is there, you can switch on your camera. So, though not offline, it is online. You can receive your certificate from the hands of our respected resource person of the day. Yeah, it is MDSD Girls College, Haryana. The Department of English has certified Ashwini with the 4th position in the national level online poetry writing competition. It is organized by Rotary Club and Sarojini Naidu Club of MDSD Girls College, Haryana. And we congratulate Ashwini, and just now we received it. And
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Ashwini, you please bless the budding poetess. This is her poem.
Oh my God. Wonderful. Can you please read it out, Ashwini?
Ashwini, can you read out?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Please, please keep exploring the world of poetry. My wishes are always with you. You will be, one day you will definitely, you can get the Nobel Award also. And one thing I would like to share with all, that my book will be released very soon. It will be published very soon. And the preface will be written by a renowned poet whose books got nominated for Nobel Award twice. Okay, so that's an honor. And I hope that Ashwini also, definitely she will reach that, height of glory. Okay, so congratulations. And ma'am, you were there, you were so inspiring. That's why your students have also achieved so much. Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations to ma'am also. To the principals are also.
You showered on our child. Ashwini, you can read it, my dear.
Yes.
Ashwini, read. I think there is some technical problem on our side to the MOC.
Okay, ma'am. The survivor. The strong I wish my heart to be, gathering reason to build me up heavily, before I fall into the cluster of life. Trying so hard to be in, so that I can live with a hope overcoming this obvious situation clear like a solid plate of life, stopping from breaking itself. No, it's not the end. I am not gonna stop. I'm clear, fine. I just want to wake up. My thoughts, my words, my actions. Stop it. I hate your reaction. My mouth refused to speak stronger. You hypnotize me when I look at your eyes. Living in a topsy-turvy world, I melt into ice like hypocrisy or a made up story wishing for a happy ending. Thank you, ma'am.
Very good. Very nice, Ashwini. I liked it very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, please keep writing also. And do read Kamala Das, okay? And Sylvia Plath.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Ashwini. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your deep knowledge on the world of poetry. Your session was full of enthusiasm and valuable knowledge.
Thank you.
Gratitude is a quality similar to electricity. It must be produced and discharged and used up in order to exist at all. I invite Dr. M. Devendran to propose the vote of thanks. Welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I feel honored and privileged to get the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who work hard to make on this special day. And today we have hosted the webinar on exploring world of poetry with 250 participants from various colleges and other universities. On the behalf of Nehru Arts and Science College and Department of English and the entire fraternity of the Institute, first of all, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record and even our hearty thanks to our CEO and Secretary Dr. P. Krishnakumar sir for the perfect logistic support and guidance for this webinar. And he has extended this opportunity for all of us. Thank you, sir. A special mention to our venerable principal and Dr. B. Anirudhan and being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillar of power. And even with a deep sense of appreciation, thank you, sir. And the foremost special thanks, and even I would like to propose the hearty gratitude to our chief guest, Ms. Priyanka Banerjee, and poetess, academician, West Bengal, for the gracing today's webinar. Thank you for your very interesting and even thought-provoking address, and even your poem also. I'm sure that all the participants will take the poem into their heart and mind. And very thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Okay.
And even I have that really heartfelt thank for our HOD, Dr. Maladi, and thank you, ma'am. And I also extended my thanks to all my staff members, and special thanks to Dr. Vijay Raghavan and Dr. Kavita and Pradeep and Balamurugan for cooperation for organizing this event. Thank you, friends. Our sincere gratitude goes to all the participants from the various colleges, and you rock the soil, support, and even encouragement. Without your support of this event, was not able to achieve excellence. And thank you so much for attending this event. And finally, the wonderful students who have turned up in such a great number from our department and even other departments also. And thank you so much for your cooperations. And thank you, my dear students. And once again, I thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We have finally come to an end to our program. Thank you all for taking time and in patience. We are extremely privileged to have you all today here. Also, I would like to thank our resource person, Ms. Priyanka Banerjee, for granting her valuable time to sparkle our event. Furthermore, I would like to thank our department for their arranging this event. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
Once again, Vinny, the feedback link is available in the chat box, please.
Please post the same link in the YouTube also. And thank you all so much for being with us and spending your valuable time. Tomorrow, let us all meet sharp by 10:30 for a session on Voice of the Voiceless, a different webinar. So post this, we'll be having a webinar in July 15th, and we are planning for a national conference also by the month of August. So every work is going on behind the screen. So thank you all for being with us. Let's meet tomorrow. And once again, my wishes to you, Ashwini, for being the budding poetess and receiving the award and bringing laurels to the department. Thank you so much. And credit goes to the tutor and also the organizing secretaries of this event, Dr. Devendran and Murugan. Thank you so much for arranging such a wonderful session. And madam, it's really good. Like, poetry could take this much time, and we were spontaneously over-loving with your poetry, ma'am. It's so nice.
You are also so poetic. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay.
Bye-bye, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone.
Even my mother was praising, sitting there, and as a teacher, you know, she was judging that, and she was telling, "Ivlo naal irundha webinar, this webinar is the best webinar," she was telling. So from the words of an old teacher, we are getting it. So thank you, Dr. Devendran and Mr. Balamurugan, once again for such a wonderful opportunity you have rendered. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nirmal. Thank you, Nirmal, for introducing the chief guest of the day. So
Yes,
things,
thank you
my
for
children are
inviting
growing up. I could see that. I could see Bini, Phoebe, and other people growing up. But when Nirmal can come into the limelight to read on screen, very happy to see my guys growing up. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deva, Bala, congratulations, Bala, Deva.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bala.
Vinny, again, wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tomorrow it is
Congratulations to
over to
Ashwini
Rukmina,
also.
ma'am. Yeah, Ashwini, greetings to you,
Yeah,
Ashwini,
Ashwini.
to your parents also.
Greetings to Ashwini.
Yeah. And as
Congratulations,
Dr.
Ashwini.
Rajkumar for the wonderful question posted by Dr. Rajkumar. Yesterday also, Dr. Rajkumar, your question was so good that sir was appreciating that question. It's really wonderful questions which
Thank
we
you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you all so much for being with us.
But it is a personal question, madam. It should be answered personally.
But he asked, na? That is Dr. Rajkumar.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Okay then.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much. Please post a link in the YouTube group, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I hope it's posted. Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
all. Thank you all.
And Bala, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible? I just wanted to ask you people that whether it is possible to share the link for tomorrow's session too, because I just want to join the session for tomorrow.
Yes, sir. It will be posted in a Telegram group also.
I don't know whether I am in the Telegram group or not. Just can you share me the link of Telegram group so that I can join the group itself?
Okay, sir. Kavita ma?
Yeah, Binny. Wait 1 second, Binny. Let me check with Dev, sir, or I will post it.
Yeah,
Okay, ma'am.